Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Caitlin Weiler, and I work for the Northwestern Alumni Association. We're going to begin shortly, and I'm so pleased that Melissa McFarlane could join us for this webinar. Before we get started, I have a few housekeeping items. If you have any questions now or during the presentation that you'd like to ask, please feel free to use the Q&A feature in your webinar dashboard. Just type in your question and hit send. Melissa will be answering your questions at the end of the presentation, but you can submit your questions as they come to mind. Should you have any technical issues during the webinar, we recommend closing out the Zoom window and restarting using the same registration link from your email or refreshing your browser. Lastly, a link to the recording of this webinar is going to be sent, as well as a few resources and links afterwards. And now I'm going to introduce Melissa. Melissa McFarlane is an internationally recognized coach with over 30 years of experience in executive business and personal coaching. At Creative Successful Entrepreneurs, she helps entrepreneurs, freelance talent, and small business owners to start and grow successful businesses they love. Through a focus on marketing, sales, packaging, and pricing, and business cash and self-management skills, McFarlane helps her clients turn underperforming, overwhelming, cash-poor businesses into creative, energizing, profitable ones. Her goal is to help all creative entrepreneurs, coaches, teachers, healers, artists, writers, designers, inventors, speakers, etc., to get their big talent and ideas into the world where those ideas and skills can make a difference. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Melissa. Thanks so much for being here.
I realized I was muted. Thank you so much, Caitlin. That was an awesome intro. I appreciate it. And I'm really glad to see, or not actually be able to see all of you here, but I am happy that you're all jumping in. So that's great. We are in a beautiful 60 minutes here. So we're going to go ahead and move right into the webinar. And we've got some assistants here behind the scenes. Caitlin, she's got a little mouse as well running around, additionally assisting. Maybe we should not say he's a little mouse, but at any rate, maybe he's a wildcat. I don't know. At any rate, it's nice to see you all here. Our webinar today, our training is in this short window, and I want to be able to answer questions if you all have them. This is an opportunity for you. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We know that people will be jumping in for about 5, 10, even 15 minutes throughout the content here. And so I would ask, please, that our team go ahead and populate the links that we are populating into the event here for those latecomers, because they won't see them. Something I forgot to mention, Caitlin. So as we go along, Erin or Caitlin, if you guys can populate for folks that are jumping in late, that will be super helpful. So the first thing I want to say is welcome to the Business Building for Small and Solo Entrepreneurs. That is what we're here to talk about today, is how you can build if you are one of those folks. So we have a little very simple structure today. We're going to do a quick introduction so that I can make sure that this training really matches what you need here. There's a wide range of type that might show up. We had near to 100 or more people register here today. We don't know how many, will actually end up populating. And I want to make sure that I'm speaking to you personally, not just everyone in the room kind of generically. And of course, that's hard to do. So if you'll tell me with this little introduction capture tool that we have, that will help me. Then we're going to do some targeted training for a large portion of our hour today. And then we're going to give you some time for Q&A. And I really strongly urge each of you to think about one question that actually would move the needle for you and be worth the hour that you're going to spend with me today. So don't make this just a, great, easy way to eat your lunch and escape. Go ahead and think, what is the one question I could ask Melissa that would make a difference, that would move the needle for me for having listened today to this webinar? So rather than just sitting and listening. So that's our goal. We're going to jump right into introductions, and I'm going to ask you to please do that by telling me a little bit about yourself in this form. You can point your camera, your phone at that camera, or if you'll please check chat, I'll go ahead and put the link in, and maybe Caitlin or team, you guys can double check that I put the right link in there. That is the form. We'll just say intro form. And that form takes about 2 minutes to fill out, folks. So if you'll just go ahead and jump in and start populating, what's going to happen for me is that I'll be able to see your results. your responses as they come in. And that'll give me a little read on, all right, what, and by the way, we don't ask for your last name. We don't ask for your email. We don't ask for your, any other information. You can give it to us if you think later, gosh, I wish I'd given her that so that I can tell her what I'm interested in, et cetera. And you just not share their list. So we don't know how to reach you, and we don't need to unless you want us to. So, but if you do, you might fill out that bottom fourth. That's up to you. Just move through it fairly quickly, I would say. So Kevin says, or Kevin Sue says they don't see a link in the chat. So I'm going to chat everyone here. There. Sorry, that was my fault. Multitasking here. Let's try that. There we go. Try that. Looks like we already had our team do that. So, all right. So go ahead and fill that in, just your name, and then quickly through the answers. And as you do that, you may get a little hiccup like, actually don't know which one I am, or there's something other way I would explain it. So just speed through, answer to the best of your ability, and we'll move on from there. I'm going to just give you a couple of minutes to fill that form out so that I can know who I've got here. Unfortunately, it's a webinar format, so I can't actually see you all here. We'll try this first. Thank you, Kevin. And if it doesn't work, then I'll go ahead and I'll find another way. All right, and I'm going to ask if my team here can go ahead and thank you. Okay, I'm beginning to see something. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Eshe. I hope I said that right. Thank you very much. Really helpful. Keep populating. That will help me a lot. All right. So thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. Very good. Really helpful. So we've got lots of solos here so far, solo practitioners. The challenges you are looking to correct or learn about today: offers and pricing, marketing, great. We'll talk about that later today or as we move along. Great. And if you'll just keep populating for me, that'll be helpful. I just want to make sure I've got all of you all represented here. I see we've got somebody that's an other. So basically, mostly solo. Great. Super. Okay. Thank you. Keep on going. And I would just ask if there's anybody in the room that particularly, and this is for our team as well, that is a product, primarily driven by a product. Let me know. If you are not a service provider in general, whether it's a professional service or solo, like more of a personal service, then let me know that. It will be helpful for me to sort of adjust our content to honor you all. And you'll hear later a little bit about how product, filters into any business in just a bit. So as we roll forward, I just want to make a quick comment in an overview before we roll into the rest of the content. And that is that, today's training, it's an overview of all, really just the things that you need to get up to 6 and 7 figures in your small or solo business, whether it's a service and product business, either one. And every one of you is in a different level or stage. So we're going to move through that. Take notes. Know that you can come back to me in several different ways at the end if you need to, with questions, etc. Don't try to screenshot everything, etc. This recording is going to get shared with you. The job right now is for you to just see where you are. How are you doing in your business? Where are you really strong? Where are you actually needing to make a decision and focus on support or strategy or whatnot in a particular arena that we're going to talk about? So thank you everyone for the populating. It's really helpful for me to see that. So great. And I am seeing good information. That's really helpful. Okay. A lot of you are using tools. You're mostly solo, but you use a lot of tools. You're going to like what we talk about today. Some of you need strategy. Money is usually a thing for all of us because that's what we do business for, is to earn. It's one of the primary reasons we're in business. Even if your heart is saying, no, my primary reason for being in business is to make a difference and change the world, that's great. And we always say over here, build a better business, build a better you, build a better business, build a better world. So absolutely, we want these businesses to build a better world for everyone. So good. Great. You guys, those of you who are curious about sales, we have some really cool, juicy, I would say it's $100,000 tool, no lie, that I'm going to share with you today towards the end of the training, just because that's where it comes in the lineup. All right. Thank you, everyone. That is actually really helpful for me to see all that. Thank you. All right. So use the time to listen, to write your questions down, to think about a pulse check of where you are and what you need to focus on when you leave today. So don't use it to try to memorize everything I'm telling you today. I'm happy to share the slides too. If I think Caitlin, our team here, we can even get you my slide deck if you guys really want that. So you can put that in questions. I'd love the slide deck or in chat. And if our team sees enough of that, then they'll tell me and I can give it to you in the show notes afterwards. All right. So what are some of the reasons we start a business? Let's just make sure we're all on the same page. If you want, you can populate in chat and you guys can talk to me. You can tell me what resonates as you move through the slides. That's fine. So maybe you're looking for flexibility, totally number one for me. Financial freedom, also, maybe that was number one for me. We have a skill we want to monetize. A lot of you might be in that stage right now in your lives. You want to work for yourself. That's also me. I'm a real, I don't know, rebel. So I have a heart. It's not that I can't work with others. I actually have a pretty great team, a pretty large team here, but I really like to be able to have the flexibility, right? And so maybe you want some sort of control or choice over your time, over the work, or who you work with, right? I work with a lot of clients in my business that are professionals, either transitioning out of professional life into a business they own, or are working to climb the ladder essentially and looking to maintain their own personal alignment and identity and leadership in the world in those spaces. So I have a real mix in our client base. And I will say that thing called the people I work with is the thing I can't control when you work for a company or a business, a small business versus owning one yourself. And we don't want to be that kind of business for the people that work with us. We want the people that work with us, all of them, especially in a small business, because there's no getting lost in a small business for your team. So we want them to really, love working with us and for us to love working with them. Sometimes we get a little bit off track and we end up with less freedom and less predictable income. Yeah, and if this resonates with you and you're brave enough to say so, thank you, Manisha, I see that. Go ahead and say, yeah, me too on these items so that people in the chat know that they're not alone, right? Unsatisfying projects, 24/7, right? Or maybe just taking on every kind of gig. What I didn't put here is just kinds of clients that you don't really want to work with. So some of you may actually have a pretty thriving business right now, working and doing the thing that you don't really want to do mostly, or with the people you don't really want to work with. So that's key. And maybe you're actually in a reinvention situation here. You actually have a business. I've done this twice. I built a business. I loved it. I had a team I loved, and now I'm kind of bored. And what's next? So you might be in that what's next phase. You're looking for maybe a higher perspective, or maybe you're just looking to be more aligned with who you really think you are and make a different, more aligned impact in the world, or bigger. That's where I am right now. It's okay, what's the bigger impact I can make with all of the foundation that we've built here, et cetera. I'm really hungry to get all the way across the world with everything, right? And to begin working with people around who they are as much as with how they work and what they do. Because who we are is going to matter, and you're going to hear a little bit more about that soon. So sometimes you might be here because you really need and want to hear some possibility, and I'm going to definitely give you that today. Maybe you want to have a sense of evolving in your life, not just according to practicality, but according to purpose. So a thing I want to say before we dive into the practical things we're going to learn today and the overview of really just some simple things that are critical to get success. And if you don't have them, you won't. And it's a really good temperature check today. So, but before we do that, I want to say that what matters more than that, and this is something I've been deep in research about, talking with colleagues about, I've had the benefit of speaking in conferences and being in places where lots of people are talking about what is the new era that we're moving into? What is the new generation or the new really, I don't know, for lack of a eon, right? What is the new eon that we're in? Right. So such a big question. And the reason why people are asking that is because everyone can feel the times are changing. Times are just changing so fast. Maybe you can feel it. Maybe you all are here, some of you, and I didn't ask about age anywhere, but if you're over 45, 40, 45, and you're in a business, even if you're at your 40s, like at or moving into your 40s, and you've already had some traction in a career, essentially, oftentimes that is at around 42, something like that, right? Or your 50s, you're in your 60s and looking for, you're in your what we call that third 30, right? If you're there, it's really likely that what's working now is not, or what worked yesterday, like literally in 2024 is not working, didn't work through 2025. You began to have traction issues, like you didn't have as many clients, things like that. You know what? You're not alone. I just want to say, and that's because the world is just massively changing. We can talk about why. We won't go into all of this sort of universal metaphysics around that. Maybe I certainly couldn't prove any of that, but I can tell you I can feel it, right? And I can see it. One of the great things about being a coach, having a team of coaches, is that we have a large number of people we get to study all the time. We get to see what's happening with you guys out there. We get to see, how much is changing in the world and what you all are struggling. And we see patterns and consistencies in the change. What's consistent about what's changing, right? So here's what's changing. In the past, a lot of interest in sort of what is my circle of influence, right? My community, my state, my country. And it's my, right? This sort of thing, right? Versus in the forward, right now, those lines are not as strongly drawn. And even if we want them to be, and we really need them to be, we feel they are, and we need to protect them. Protection is not going to matter when the natural reality is that global, collective, and universal is happening. It's coming. It's here, folks. The lines are fading. The lines between each other are fading. That doesn't mean we understand each other very well. There's a lot of money in that. There's a lot of money in being awake and aware to understanding and being able to be in a merged line in a space that has people overflowing from lots of or needs. We'll talk about that a little more. We're moving from an independent, I got me, I'm doing me, I'm free, arena to a required union, like a connecting, a hunger for connection, a hunger for people are jumping off social media like mad because it isn't connecting them. They're jumping onto social media platforms that are connecting them. Golly, so much scrolling, research now about how we lose ourselves, our souls, and each other in the scrolling, right? Used to be that what is the way, what is the logic? We can all agree now, let's move forward, right? And there were books and tomes for the last 400 years, really. Now we're in a place of individual power, which is really about perspective. Like, how do you see things? What do you see? So that means not only do you need to know what your conviction is around something, what your vision, wisdom is, not for freedom, so you can go do it and have it, but so that you can understand how it alters, how it's different from someone else's. So not only yours, but theirs. What's their perspective? What is the conviction over there about, and why? Let me get curious about that. We used to have a really heavy weight on learning skill. And for some of you that are experiencing change, it's been pretty tumultuous. I have this happening a lot with my clients, that the changes that are happening to them, they feel like their skills are no longer needed. They're not the same skill. They used to spend hours to teach someone or coach someone around a specific thing, whether it was a healing modality or a coaching, framework, a business framework or something like that, or something else. But now guess what? AI skills are gone. Everyone, like there's so much now. I don't want to be flippant here. There are lots of skills that matter, but the skills that are mattering more now are softer skills. So because computers and machines and even the people can do the skills faster. So where we are now is, how well do you think? How well can you contemplate? And the first space for that is you. How well do you understand you? And how well can you think and understand what else is going on in the world and see those trends? So this is it used to be something that was an asset, an extra in business and certainly in C-suite and leadership, but not so much in small business. You didn't have to have that. You could monetize on skills and knowledge base and transfer, but not so much anymore. So details and hard work, people, so if you are a person that is, and you guys are all Northwestern alumni here, so I'm just going to say you all have this top of mind. You guys know how to hard work, right? Problematically now, a lot of hard work is like we work too hard when we don't need to. So I'm hoping to give you some joy and ease today with just some simple rules that this is what you should focus on, not this, so that you can stop working so diligently and hard on really stuff that is a waste of your energy and not going to help, right? And so that way, we have to know the way. That used to be the thing that mattered. But now we're really looking at clarity, like just intuitive, adding your own sort of, yeah, that is the clear thing that's being called out. But what am I intuiting might be what's around that? A stupid example. Years ago, I lost my dog. I was trying really hard to do the thing that was practical and hard work and whatever. I made a bunch of flyers, et cetera. But it was about the time the internet came on, and my intuition, I just thought, let me just stop and listen on a broader level, like a wider level. And right away I thought, yeah, there's this thing called the internet. What do you do? Like, maybe I could go search that thing. Sure enough, a picture of my dog came. This was after hours of posting those darn photos. And yes, that's very old school, but use the analogy. Where do you do that? Where are you working? And can you feel that you're working in something that isn't going to change or move the needle? So businesses that survive will honor the needs of what we might call the new age of expansion. Expansion is the hunger that the human that we are here and able to now fulfill, because so many, it's sort of, industrial age freed us our hands. The AI is freeing in some way, and let's not all start voting about AI in this webinar. We don't have time. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for that, Kelly. It's nice to see where you work there. Thank you. So what's going to matter? What matters now is an ability to listen, ability to respond, an ability to share, not just willingness to share, but an actual calculated ability. How much can I give away? How much can I share and help and let someone have a tool that I developed instead of, oh, I've developed this, it's my IP, I can't let it go. Well, what if you can't keep it? What if you can't, like, we're in the age of you can't really keep it. So now, again, please, I'm going to say some things. I should just say, I'm going to say some things that require longer conversation than the time like a conversation. So just stick around, hang out in my world for a little while. If you want to argue with me on together, I'd be happy for that, to hear what your opinion is. But let's make sure we get to know each other first, and just come on over into my space and we'll learn over time. For today, we're here for a particular overview and just one way to look at things. So collaborating is super important. Again, back to your capability. You can't collaborate if you are triggerable all the time. If you don't know how to self-manage, it used to be a kind of a luxury, like as long as you had the right tools and the content and everything, you could, let's say you were an accountant and you knew how to do accounting, or you were legal and now it's just not enough. So in order to collaborate, we have to be non-triggerable. We have to really know how to self-manage. Imperfection, we have to be really comfortable with imperfection, because there's a lot of, fire, ready, aim kind of need out there right now. It's trust that somehow you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out more than, because you can't figure it out in the way you used to be able to figure shit out. Pardon me. So now we can't really do that quite the same way if we're going to stay in the right pace that we want to go in. So the really good news is, if we can relax and not need to be perfect as we move, and really flip the script on that, from Northwestern ready to Northwestern I'm ready, I'm open, I'm ready. I trust I can manage. I trust. It sounds not like a skill, right? But man, do I see it's the delineator between the leaders in my world that are succeeding faster than those who are struggling. And then, so we want to begin with that groundedness and that self-awareness. So today I'm going to cover 4 simple pillars that you need to strengthen, and 4 that any business owner always has to strengthen, continuously strengthen. And they are going to hopefully be pillars that will help you organize your thought around your business and just double check that these are all represented in your business. And then we're going to look at 4 pieces that you have to build no matter what your business is. And hopefully that will help you really lock into where do you have the holes. And you can talk with me about that. So just doing a little time check here. We want to get to 6 figures or beyond. We have found, we've done a lot of research in our community. We find that as much as 7, people want to get to 7 figures. And it used to be really recently that coaches, I'll never forget the day I learned that one of my mentors in my world of coaching and consulting and whatnot, this was not just the first, I learned this over and over again. This person was a 7-figure coach. I learned it from an 8-figure coach as well. When I asked her, what is your take-home profit? She told me that her profit was about the same as mine. And I was one of her clients and I had just gotten started. And I was like, how is it? And it's because her overhead was so high, right? So I want to say that most of us need, multiple 6 figures to really live a life that we can sustain, that we can even enjoy. Like many folks can't even figure out, it's just not needed to have 500,000 of personal take-home income or whatever. Now, if you are that person and you want to get to 1 million of take-home and 8 billion of take-home, great. This will all apply, but you're at another level, and I doubt you're here, if you're in that category. Many of you probably are looking to get to that first 250,000, 250,000, right? So what we're going to learn today is something that we have tested and tested and tested. It's the basics of what our clients all use over here at CSE and at the Whole Coach. We focus on these primary factors because they routinely produce reliable, repeatable, 6-figure and above 250,000 businesses. So, and they allow our clients to produce results. Let me give you an example. I actually front loaded some of our Northwestern grads. So Tish Hicks is a Northwestern grad and also a client. She built a 6-figure business in a year, and she owns a $500,000 million business now. Her company is called the VO Dojo, and she used these tools that we're talking about today to do that. You all might know Hope Edelman. She's an international bestseller. She works in the space of mother loss, loss of mother. And she was already a best-selling author, etc. She was still trying to figure out how to monetize all of her IP and her wisdom and her capability set. And she was monetizing well, but she just wasn't monetizing where she wanted to monetize. And so she came in, we just tooled and tweaked these things and really focused on these things. So focus is one of the keys today. And she increased her income from her followers, not even the additional income, but from her existing followers. So she tapped into an already existing buyer and had them buy more and increased her income by 80%. This is Krista Walsh. She was a beginning copywriter. Copywriting is a bit of a non-thing right now, but it isn't really. We just have to do it differently, right? Because AI is copywriting like mad out there. We still need people that can check the copy. But she experienced a 500% growth. So I want you to hear that just focusing may be the fix you're looking for today. Dylan Brody, for those of you who are more creative and artistic in the space here, he's a writer, a performer, storyteller, writing coach, and he netted his first 50K a month using the model. So if you guys are not earning 50,000 a month, of course, that's over, I think that's like 600,000 in a year, 50,000 a month. So you can do the bad math that I just did. So $50,000 a month using the model and the things we're going to talk about today. And it really is it's all of these results are based on this simple model. So please trust it and breathe as you hear it today. Marianne is in the space of grief and also transition and change. She works inside corporate and with individuals privately. She increased her income by about $100,000 in the year when she applied these tools. And I love our friend Andreas Kramer. He runs a company called Conscious Profit. 75% increase in his income. So if you already are earning and you're like, how can I get this right? Just listen to the sort of framework today and it'll help you calm down is my goal. So they didn't have to have a couple of things that you all may be overloaded on right now. One is tech, not complicated tech. You will need some tech. You will need some tech, and I'm going to tell you which tech in this presentation today. They didn't need startup capital. They didn't need a single current client. Several of these people I showed you did not have businesses before they came in to work with us. So this model works for you even if you're just getting started. Yeah. So they didn't have to stop doing what they love and do something else that they didn't want to do, and they didn't have to have any prior business experience. I've got a couple slides here about who I am. I'm just going to say I don't want to waste our time. I have had, I've been a coach. I'll just say I've been a coach for 30 plus years, but the thing that really makes me able to talk to you is that I have been to the School of Hard Knocks for myself and with my clients. I have not only helped myself turn around businesses that were struggling, but also my clients, and all based on the principles we're going to talk about today. The thing I really want to say to you most, though, today is to not forget that as you look at what you need to focus on, etc., who is doing the doing is going to matter moving forward, who you are and how you be. So if you start noticing yourself getting overwhelmed or whatnot, notice like, oh, I need to self-manage that. How can I calm myself down as I hear an influx of information, and start to notice that that is always part of the equation to success. So that is one of the arenas that all of our clients have to develop in order to succeed, not just the tools. And I'm going to talk about a little bit of all of that today. So let's get started on business building. We're going to succeed when you focus on 4 pillars to strengthen, that you're going to strengthen, and on 4 pieces to build. Sometimes solos get confused and they make some mistakes. And so we're going to look at these. Just write them in chat if this is you, okay? So folks, are you somebody that is used to just selling to anyone at any price because you have to, or you've been selling to maybe we could just say too broad an audience, right? Instead of really focusing in, not on like some niche, women over 50 who like that, but on a whole understanding of who you can really serve best. So selling to anyone at any price. And some of you maybe not want, I'm going to say, never mind chatting and, chatting this in, because it's hard to admit that we make these mistakes. And all of us have been in the space, perhaps at some point. I need a client, doesn't matter, whoever that is that walks through the door, I'll serve them. So if you're really good at saying no, great. Underpricing is a huge issue. We're going to talk about how to get around that a little bit today. Over delivering is a bigger issue. When we over deliver, we not only don't earn as much money, we squeeze the profit margin, but we also exhaust our energy margin. And so that's 2 losses, not 1. Mistake number 3 is counting on your talent or your product to attract referrals. We call that the referral racket, even though referrals are awesome and needed. Instead of building sales through a funnel that perfectly nurtures that right fit client, right? And mistake number 4 is kind of trying to impress to sell, or let's say convince to sell, instead of really understanding the sales conversation. You guys, I'm going to give you a golden tool around that today. So you need and want to convert loyal, high-paying clients that stick, stay, and play with you, not ones that you have to re-enroll and get more work from all the time. Just by the time you're ending the one contract, you've got to go at it all over again. A big issue for companies that are getting started is that they don't know how to build to scale and build to have a good long scope of income. Again, we're going after reliable and repeatable. So we're going to focus on these 4 pillars to strengthen, and we're going to start there. So number 1, let's just imagine a restaurant. It'll be easier to get through this. And I'm going to move quickly because I want to get to the second piece, the pieces that we want to build, but these are important here, the pillars. So these are the things that you have to always pay attention to in your business. And I'll just tell you that I'll bet each one of you has a pillar that's crumbling or has never been built. And that's okay. It's normal. You all probably have a strength in 2 of the 4, or 1 of the 4, or 3 of the 4, but not all 4. So cannot run a business without all 4, like a house, it's going to fall over. So 4 pillars of a successful business. First, let's imagine a restaurant on a busy street in New York City. We need to get people to stop and come inside our business, right? What is that called? Marketing. Stop and come inside, right? And we want the right people to come in. We don't want just anyone to come in. We want the people who are going to love the food we're serving once they're inside, right? So we don't have to now ask them to please leave through the back door or whatever, no, thank you. We don't serve people who are looking for 5-star meals. I'm so sorry. Now they're mad when they're leaving, no. So the right fit client through the door is what we're looking for. Get them to stop and come inside. The second thing we need to do, they're moving through that buffet or they're sitting there with their menu, and then they make a decision, right? Decision, not to just come in, but to stay and play and eat, right? And we need to charge them and get the cash. That's called sales. So a lot of you might be good at a lot of interest. People like you, they are excited about you, but they don't convert. Why? Because we don't know how to sell, right? We don't know how to breathe into sales, because a lot of you in solo businesses, service businesses, you are heart-based. And I get you. Like, oh, I get that. So, I mean, I hated the topic of how do I convert. So I just converted by being real, and you guys, Northwesterners, by being really good coach. And I just waited for those referrals and I got them. And you guys, for 12 years, I lived off of them, but I couldn't break the ceiling of income just from being a good coach. I needed more to get to that multiple 6 figures, 500,000. So we need to capture the cash before they eat and walk away, and that is called sales. We need to feed them well without starving in the process ourselves, and that's called packaging and pricing. This one alone can change your business. When I learned this, I quadrupled my income in a year and then doubled it in the next year. So just making this one change makes a big difference. I want to remind our team, Erin and Caitlin, if there are folks that have joined later, please go ahead and drop that info form in the chat so that I can begin to see if there's any. We're trying to make sure that the content fits who is listening here today. So if you haven't filled out that form, check the intro form. Thank you so much, team. And go ahead and fill out that form so that we know I'm making sure that I'm on point to you guys. So get them to stop and come inside, capture the cash before they eat, feed them so they eat really well, but you don't starve in the process. I was so failing at that for those 12 years that I was on international stages, on television as a coach. I was doing great, right? So some of you might be like that. Influencers maybe here. You've got great Substacks that are flying strong and hard, and you're doing great, but you still cannot convert that interest into a sale. That's a huge scale. Or maybe you just, when you do, you sell them something that you have to work way too hard at and that brings you very little money. That's packaging and pricing. So when we fix that little thing, we get the right outcome. And then finally, we got to keep the kitchen clean. So if people are piling into your restaurant because you did the right thing and they're stick staying and playing and they're paying for more and bringing their friends, well, we can't have you slipping on banana peels in the back, right? So we need to make sure that things like customer care and dishes and, we remember to put that little thing in the bill when we brought the bill out to the table that says, hey, and this is something, by the way, that doesn't happen as much anymore because people do all the swiping to pay for a bill. There's no moment where you can say, actually, I'd love to receive, a 20% off coupon if I just put my email in here. Duh. That would be really great for us, the business, and also for the customer. She can bring all of her people back, but we don't do that anymore. So what are we doing to nurture stick, stay, play, and repeat? Because a business that repeats business from the same clients we have that we worked so hard to get is always going to do better, right? So we need 80% of our income to come from, people that are that we've already worked with. So those are the 4 pillars we need. They are marketing, sales, packaging and pricing, and behind the scenes management. And wrapped around all of those things are that little kind of intangible thing that I mentioned earlier, which is a small thing to say, but a very big thing for success. And that is the right mindset around and self-management, which I would say falls into the category of leadership skills needed to succeed. So pillar number 1, get them to come inside. That's marketing. We have 2 kinds of, basically, I just would say at bare minimum, your company needs to have what we call a marketing clover. Tagline for anything you do, a name for anything you do, and a tagline for anything you do, program, offer, product, doesn't matter. A little short blurb about that. We call that an ankle show or a heighten the hunger statement, just a little bit about what you do so you can say it anywhere. Some people call that an elevator pitch, not just for you, your company, but also for your products. And then a longer way that you tend to talk about it. For most of you out there doing online business, that's a landing page. Knowing how to put the structure of a landing page where people fall, they go and they go there to buy something from you. Got to have that. And we need to know how to craft that. It's not hard. AI can help you tremendously with that. So that's number one. Pillar number two, capturing the cash sales. It's really about building awareness and ownership. People will not convert with you if you haven't built somehow an awareness that they're hungry. Sometimes we walk in and we don't really realize how hungry we are. And people don't buy if we're minorly hungry. We're like, just I'll buy the appetizer. When we're starving and we are aware that we're starving, we will buy the whole meal. And if we are thinking, that's your problem though, or the world isn't feeding me, now we're not going to buy, right? We know we're hungry, but it's someone else's fault. If your client, your prospect knows that they are hungry and they understand their hunger and you've helped them to understand that, and if they have owned that it's their problem, theirs to fix, then you'll make a sale. So awareness and ownership are critical. I'm going to show you in a little bit how to do that. It's really just a conversation to close that interest into a sale, but it's the right conversation. Pillar number three, feed them without starving in the process, packaging and pricing. Basically, just a couple things to say. I went from 24,000 about to 181,000 in 1 year, and then did it again the next year. Just from learning how to successfully package and price things. I took out all the hourly time for dollars kind of work, and I still worked with people one-on-one. I just also did other things in the packages. I built in things that they needed more of, and I took out things they didn't need. And I'll tell you something, when I learned this, I was able to earn from the same clients, and they are still with me today about 20 years later, from the same clients, about 10 times more, no lie. So from one price tag to a different 10 times more price tag, willingly, happily, because I changed the offer and I priced it differently, and I learned how to talk about it so that they understood the depth of what they were getting. So pillar number four is keep your kitchen clean. And there's some behind the scenes management we always have to have. I'm going to say to you all, these are the basics you need. And again, we can share these slides with you if you all need them. You need a customer management software somewhere to capture the customers as they flow in, so you can keep track of them and records in a way to, capture their, know what they're in and what they are doing with you and all of that. We need that. We need money capture and marketing or monthly tracking tools. We need tax and bank account. We need a good way to report taxes and a bank account. Doesn't have to be a big ordeal. We need a document management system. We love Google Drive. Even if you're on Mac and you love iCloud, or if you're in Word, I'm just going to say, for all our Word lovers, and a lot of Northwesterners in professional environments have to use Word. But I would say if you're in your own environment, if you're pivoting out of a professional environment, like a company or something, into your own, I would highly recommend you move to Drive. There are reasons why that we don't have time to talk about today. And then client care, a way to address client care through tools. So we need that behind the scenes stuff. We also need to learn AI, because AI is undeniable. I just want to say to you guys, just dive in there. We are big on this in our company right now, beginning to help our clients learn how to use the basics of AI to frankly not need to hire so much team, and to be able to get work done at the pace that's required now. And I just want to say to you, for all our Northwesterners here, like geeks, you guys, if you haven't leaned into AI, and some of you are like, I got it, I'm doing AI like mad. Others of you are like, oh, she's going to talk about AI, which would have been me, a year ago. I just was afraid of it. And I had a team. So I kept telling my team to go learn AI. Now I'm neck deep and loving it, because there is so much, no matter what you have to say about AI, when you use AI correctly, it makes everything easier. So much easier. Not the part that we need you for. We still need you, but you still need you. But we need to begin to learn. And this is really where to develop yourselves, you guys. What part of you is critical and what part of you is not so critical? How can we adjust what you've been delivering in your business So you don't need to do it the same way. So we can give some of that to the AI team, some of that to your team, who might give it to AI, and some of you keep and your team keeps. All right. So these are all the things that AI can do now. Video scripts, videos themselves, graphics, all your graphics can be created like that. No, you don't need to go into Canva yourself and do it or whatever. All marketing copy, all web pages and landing pages, you will only need to edit. And sometimes you don't need to edit. Certainly, if you haven't got any of those things, you guys, you can start just by leaning on AI. You don't have to be so perfect and precious and exactly right for you that what AI came up with, you can't just say, okay, thank you, I'll use that for the next 3 months and then we'll change it, right? So the paid versions, though, I would get the paid version. So we've moved through the 4 pillars. We're going to move into the 4 things you need to build. All right, so 4 pieces to build. Not that hard, but critical. You got to have these 4 things in any business. Number 1, a target. We got to get the right people, the right fit people, right? Number 2, we need to build an offer. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Number 3, funnel. You have to have a way for people to find the offer, right? And come and look at it. You know, that stop and come inside, that's your funnel. Like the sign that's outside the door, the free taste that we're giving, that free taste, that's part of your funnel. Okay. So what is that funnel? A simple pathway to attract leads and have them come inside. And then that conversation we talked about, and I'm going to give you that $100,000 tool here in a minute. So I see I need to keep moving. I just want to do a quick check-in with my with you here, team. Do we have a huge number of questions loading up? I forgot to tell you guys that to start. Maybe I did. Loading up questions in Q&A. So if you have any questions, and they could be off topic, please go ahead and populate them in the Q&A box here. If you're like, look, I came to get this. Can you answer this? You're not answering this. I would love to hear this. Great. Just tell me. I'm going to talk for about 5 more minutes, and then I'm going to give us about 5 or so minutes to answer some questions. So get your question in there if you really want to get a question answered. All right. So 4 things. Target, offer, funnel, conversation. Picking your target, not going to spend a lot of time here because you all can, well, actually, I do want to say, remember I said you need to know all about yourself and what your skills and your capability is. I don't want to skip over that because a lot of you may have chosen targets that you've chosen because they can make you money, but you don't know yourself well enough to have chosen the target or to have created the package that is right fit for you, not just right fit for themselves, like the right offer for the right target for that target, but for you, right? For you. So part of picking the right people is who are the right people for me? All right, not just where can I make money? So we call this the crosshair of commerce between need and solution. It's where you want to go. Who do you want to help? Write these questions down. These are simple but important, and you should ask them all the time with every new offer. Who do I want to help with this offer? What problem do I want to solve? Okay, next or now. That's that crosshair. If we can find the need that exists and the solution that you provide, and we can match it so well to your target where they have a very fat need, there's a lot of stuff they need, and we match it with the offer really well, that big fat intersection that we've created now, right? A lot of money in there. So to make reliable, consistent income, you've got to know what your particular crosshair is. You got to understand where they're in pain and where they're desiring to, what they're desiring to gain. We call it the pain gain gap, right? And how we can fix that is you, right? And when you know your crosshair really well, all these things get fixed. You know how to create a business name. Creative, successful entrepreneurs is right in the crosshair. Was when I created that name. Now we've got a new company underneath that's focusing only on coaches called The Whole Coach, because coaches don't just need skills and they don't just need business development. They also need personal development. So our new brand is The Whole Coach. Thank you about questions. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that, Tamra. So packaging and pricing your high ticket offer. You want to remember these things particularly. We need stuff in your offer. We can't have one thing in your offer, right? And we never want to do time for dollars, hourly rates. Forget your hourly rates. If you're charging hourly, come find me someday and we'll fix that. We cannot have you doing hourly rate. There are reasons why. I think you could probably figure it out. You can just Google the question, why not hourly? And you'll get Claude or whatever will tell you a million reasons why not. So what we have to have in an offer is a little bit of these three things: service, product, and information or education. And yes, information and education can be part of the product, but it's not the whole. The product may be an info product, but we may also still need to educate for awareness and ownership, right? So we need those three things. With those three things in your offer, you're good to go. Then we can look at active, leveraged, or passive. Like, are we delivering it one-on-one? Active, you're there. Are we delivering it one-to-many? That's leveraged. Or are we delivering it without you there? Passive. We need all three ways to deliver in a business to get to scale. But you can make $100,000 on one-on-one with leveraged on the first two, one-on-one and leverage. Do not start with passive. Don't charge hourly. So you got to give them what they need to accomplish their goals. You've got to leverage your time with group and virtual components. You've got to work in a span of time for a year, 6 months, whatever, a package of 90 days, not one-on-one hourly. Add more value without adding time. So you're going to add partners, right? And we're going to make sure that product, service, and information and education are in there. We've got to make sure that you price well. So what do they need to pay in order for them to show up? And what do you need to earn in order for you to show up? All right. Any line of business can leverage that way. Tristan, right? Good. So creating a funnel, it's the backbone of every business. We're basically first going to create awareness with a magnet. You guys, today we're just here to teach and train because we're doing this for Northwestern, right? I love my Northwestern community. I am so grateful to all that I learned at Northwestern. I didn't know what I had when I went to school here, but so this we are not really right on target for a magnet, but this is a magnet of sorts. Just speaking can be a magnet, you guys. A free talk, a webinar, a Substack post. So we got to create awareness about our product and service. Nurturing the relationship, engagement has to happen. Even so much now, people need to get to know, like, and trust you. Always true, but especially now. Sales conversation. So your magnet creates that awareness. A freebie is the way to do it. Think about what kind of freebies. Here's a freebie, the best value for your money, CNET. Why don't you just try us out for free for a month? That's a standard freebie out in the world. Okay, I'm in, right? No risk, except for now you have my credit card and oh yeah. So that's a very obvious way that Hulu does this, right? We've got to do the freebie. We've got to nurture the relationship. Here's an example of freebies. I'm not going to read these out just in interest of time, but there are 27 examples in there. Speaking and training is the best way. Even if you're not a speaker or trainer, trust me, it is the best way. It is the best magnet for most of you service providers. We call it a share sell because it squeezes two of the steps into one action. So when we do a really good presentation, or we educate through a landing page, or we do a really good Substack sort of set of articles or video series or an interview series or something like that, what we're doing is we're not only getting people to stop, we're nurturing that awareness and that ownership all in one move in one single thing. So that's why we like it the best. And we call it share sell, because there's a way to not only give, but also talk about how they can get all in one single move. And we want to do that, right? Finally, we need that sales conversation. Here comes that $100,000 tool, and we're going to take some questions soon I'm trying to skid into our 60 minutes here. So look, change is scary even more now because things are changing on psychic and spiritual levels now. I'm just going to say it. The human is evolving now. This is an age of evolution and expansion. In human evolution and expansion that is not like the age of industrialism or the age of systems and transfer and planning. This is a very different time we're moving into. You guys can all feel it. So that sort of scary change, it's scary that just we can't even get our hands on it. It's not even, we don't need printers anymore, which was the problem of the 90s, right? Like, all the printing businesses, like the way we do now, I don't even know how to respond to what's coming at me so fast, right? So it's uncomfortable. And that the sales conversation is if you have the right one, it's going to develop that awareness, it's going to develop that ownership, and it's going to calm people down. So this is your tool. You can screenshot just this, even if you're not going to go back and get the slides or whatever. You guys, this took me a long time to get exactly right. Our clients use this and they convert hundreds of thousands of dollars with this one tool. It is your script to use. I am so excited to give it to you because it is such a game changer. Just this is worth your time for showing up today. So pat yourself on the back. And if you have used this conversation, you know what I'm talking about. Most of you all haven't. I can tell you right now, it will calm the stuff down for you everywhere. So phase one is all about closing that or identifying that what that pain gain gap is and stretching it. Phase two is all about making sure that they understand where they can get to if they can close the gap. Phase three is understanding that there is a solution, a helicopter that can lift them up or a boat that can take them over there, and that is you. And they are willing to do what it takes to get from Pain City to Gain City. That's phase three. And phase four is all about making decisions. The questions go like this. What do you want? Why do you want that? Why do you think you haven't gotten it? What do you think you would get if you had that? What would be possible? If you don't do that, what will happen instead to you? Are you willing to do what it takes in order to close that gap and get that change? Do you believe that if you had the right tools and the right techniques and the right resources and support, that you could close the gap? Are you willing to take action? Do you think you'll need help? Or I think you'll need help. Do you agree? And then what questions do you have? And when we've gone through those questions and we've really listened and we've had the conversation with someone properly, the question that comes out is, first of all, how can I work with you? The second question that comes out is, how much does it cost? And you have not had to sell anything because you've supported them in the discussion that is very hard for them to have on their own. So we might go over about 3 minutes, you guys, team. So it's just a service conversation. So don't think of this as a sales conversation. Think of it as a service. It's not something you do to someone, a mentor told me. It's something you do for them. Okay? You're going to respond to objections using the same path. So I've given you these 4 pillars that you need to strengthen, 4 pieces to build. And here are some questions you can ask yourselves. Just a quick checklist. Do you deeply understand your target? Who do you want to help? What problem you now in this moment in your life want to solve? Does your offer attract your right fit client? Build long-term relationships that are going to stick, stay, and play. Pay you well, reliably, repeatably. Do you have a way to attract interest for your offer, to get people to stop and come inside that funnel, that magnet? Do you have a way to then nurture them so that you can turn that interest into a sale? Are you practiced at having that right conversation? Do you know how to breathe into that and self-manage during it? And do you have set up with the essential tech? Also, have you developed the mindset and leadership traits that you will need to succeed? So I hope this has been helpful. Remember, you don't need a lot of technology, just what I showed you. You don't need startup. You don't need any of that to get going. Now, you all may have some questions. Are there any? It looks like we might have time to answer just what's in here. I see
Yeah,
here. Thanks.
we have 2
Yeah.
questions. Yeah, so I'm happy to read those out for you,
Yeah.
Melissa. So the first one is for those of us who are not yet entrepreneurs but are in the business plan phase, what practices would you advise?
Okay. So first of all, what you're doing here today, perfect space for you, Eshe, because you're learning before you're doing for a minute. Not that I would say to all the rest of you, like I'm all about, ready, go, and then aim, fire, right? Or fire, and then whatever that is. I'm all about let's jump in even before you're ready. Like it's very important. So don't wait too long, Eshe. Getting the right support that can really help you. Now you know where you need to go. Try not to do that completely alone is just the truth I'm going to say to you. Find yourself the right folks to support you to build along the way because it will condense time. People often think hiring help, and don't do it through buying tools, Ajay. Do not buy tools just yet. Buy strategy. I guess that would be my first thing is buy strategy because strategy condenses time and saves you money. What's our next question?
Yeah, so someone else is thinking about making the transition from their 9 to 5 job in consulting and starting their own business. They've run a couple small businesses before, but are wondering how do they make a plan to make the big jump, so that their family and them have confidence in that move.
Well, I'm going to say the same answer here, which is get the strategy with someone. The big thing here is going to be who are you? It sounds like you've been consulting, so consulting is a great pathway. I didn't hear you want to pivot into something brand new, completely new. But if you are, especially if you are, find a mentor or a coach in the area that you're thinking of building in and work on that strategy. Again, it's going to 100%. It took me, you guys, it took me 12 years. And I remember doing the math. I remember realizing it was well over $1 million that I had lost just from looking at my math of what I was now able to earn. I was well over $1 million of lost income in that 12 years that I didn't ask for help. Not the right kind of help. I was building my capability as a coach and all that, but that's not the skill we need to build. We need to build two things. One, business, we need to have someone who can help us make iterative decisions along the way based on the first skill we need to build, which is who the frick am I? Where is the crosshair of who I can best serve and what I most want to do? Where is that crosshair? So if you haven't figured that out exactly, that's your first step is get with a coach who can talk you through that and help you make those decisions and then help you identify which packaging, which pricing. Don't try to do that. Don't try to go to Claude for that. A really good business coach will do that a lot better. Then you will be able to get all of that in 90 days and you will be off and running and earning in the right fit, right business for yourself in 90 days. So know yourself, get someone to help you know yourself. I find it a lot easier to find out about myself if I'm being asked questions and if I'm trying to ask myself. And then strategy for, all right, given who you are, where your equity set is, what you've got in your toolkit, and where you want to go and what you want to have, let's build this business. And here's the first offer you're going to build. Do that. So I see one more question here. I don't know, am I allowed to take it or not?
Yeah, if you want to take it, I think there's two questions, I think, right? How do you determine what to charge if you don't charge hourly? And then finally, how do people get in touch with you to potentially work with you?
Great. So the last question our team can answer in chat, if you guys would just populate in chat what needs to happen there. And you know what? I will actually go ahead and pull that up on screen. I'm realizing that would be smart. So thank you for attending. Please stay uh, if you just to hear the last few minutes, it will be helpful for you. You can check us out here. You can QR code that. That's just our work with us page. Everything about how we work. Lots of different options, including hopping on my calendar. So our team's going to populate that in chat. Also, you can just directly hop on my calendar. And if hopefully all 30 of you won't do that. But we love you and we'll get you to me or one of my team coaches if I can't jump on a calendar. You guys, you're Northwestern, so go Cats, and I'm here for you. Not always putting my calendar link in a group presentation like this. And then finally, introduce yourself in that intro form. Let me get to know you a bit, and I'll give you something for free, and you can be in our community then and just start coming to our free experiences and start learning. So those are some ways to get going. To answer the question about pricing, and we'll end on this. The thing that about how do I start making the decision about pricing? The most important thing is, what do you want to make? And what I want to ask you all to do is to build in about 30% more than you want to make, or 50% more. So someone will come to me and say, I want to make, oh, sometimes people come with really low numbers. Like, all I really need to make is 5,000 a month, and for many parts of the country, that's a pretty great living. But for most of you, you're coming with a number like 10 or 20 a month, 20,000 a month. So 100,000 a year, that's 120, it's 10,000 a month, is 8,000 a month essentially. So somewhere around 10,000. Some of you, 20,000. So I would say bump that up by half that. So if you're coming with 10, raise it to 15. If you're coming with 20, raise it to 30. So that you can pay taxes and team so you can go faster. Having said that, where do I get that number? Not just off of what we always say, ask for what you want, not what you think you can get, because usually what you think you can get is lower. So go after a number and then ask me or a seasoned business coach somewhere. Find someone else who knows how to get to that number, not just charging hourly. So you'll want to start thinking, if I need to make 10,000, let me just give you this quick math, and then I promise you, Caitlin will jump. You guys, so let's just imagine I'm a coach. I don't know what you do here, so I'm going to assume, I don't know, Ken. Let's say you want to make, let's just say 10,000. It's easy. Okay, so we're going to make 10 total 10,000, and we want to make that, and we want to deliver a service like, I don't know. Well, all right, coaching. I'll just it's just fast. So you're some kind of coach, right? Or teacher or trainer or something like that. And how many clients do we need? How many clients do you think you can work with? That's the next question. It's like, to really enjoy your work, how many clients? Maybe 10. I would say never work with more than 20, personally one-on-one, where you have to deliver all the services. Always have enough of a team to do that. So let's say you're going to go for 10. All right, so we divide by 10, 10,000 by 10 people, you're at $1,000 a month. I would say, and you might want to write this down, this is a really good formula. Charging someone $9,997 for a year-long package. This is gold, by the way. You guys listen, because this is not going to be in the slides. For a year-long package, pay in full, or $997 a month, which turns out to just under 13,000 for the year, is a great set of numbers. And right now that's one way to make the decision. But we started with, what do I want to make? We started with, how many people can I and do I want to serve? And then we got to the number. And then what you do with them is you crack half your time into that. You do, if you were giving 2 sessions a month, you give one, and you figure out what else would they need that can be done without me, or with me, too many of them, that is going to make up for that hour that I took away.
Great. Thank you, Melissa. All right. So thank you to everyone for joining us today. And thank you to Melissa again for the wonderful presentation. As a reminding, we'll be sharing out a recording in the next day or two, as well as all the links that Melissa shared today during the presentation, and potentially some of these slides. To find out more about upcoming alumni events, check out the NAA's website at alumni.northwestern.edu. Have a great rest of your day, and go Cats.
Go Cats. Thank you. Thank you, Caitlin and Erin. Bye, everyone. I'll see you on the other side.